Hey guys, welcome back to 716.
Hey guys, welcome back.
My name is Xavier.
My name is Adrian.
Are you really laughing about that again? Oh my god. That was like 2 weeks ago.
I know, but I want to say my name's Xavier.
No. Bueno, guys, what's up? This is 716. Oh my god, I'm saying it again. Guys, we are a faith-based faith-based Christian podcast.
Yes. He's saying face-based. You know,
no, I said faith-based.
Jesus' face.
Yeah, baby. We're a faith-based Christian podcast.
Yes.
We like to dive into controversial things. We have many episodes already in our library regarding relationships, some controversial things. We'd like to do more, and that's going to be, you're going to see that in the future.
It's going to be next year. You will definitely see a lot of things that are in the
Well,
works.
actually, today, without getting too into it just yet, today is considered some controversial.
Yeah, actually, you're definitely right. And obviously, you know what the title is, so you know what we'll definitely be diving into. But you know, we definitely do like to share. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
We definitely like to share, you know, all of our experiences in life, things that we've learned throughout life as well. So, we're just excited to be here and to be going over this episode. I feel like, just definitely interesting one.
Yeah. So if it's your first time here, we like to do two different segments. In the beginning, we'll start with thankful, and then we move into one of our favorite things, which is the mugs.
Yes.
Today, I'm actually thankful for clarity. You know, the Bible talks about how if you seek, you will find it. And Proverbs is a big chapter, a big book that is based on seeking wisdom. I mean, the whole thing is regarding wisdom.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, it is regarding this podcast, this topic of the podcast, because we went through a situation. I'm not going to go into it just yet, but we went to a situation.
We're ready to dive in.
And I needed clarity.
Yes.
So I'm thankful for clarity.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like I always try to have something a little deeper, but today I have to revisit something I'm thankful for. So you guys know how I love Chick-fil-A, right?
Oh my God.
So I want to share a great story, again.
What, did it happen today?
No, it actually happened like 3 days ago or something like that. But
you go too much.
So because it's really, really close to the studio.
That is true.
So when I'm, this is our podcast studio, but then we attached to it is also my makeup, like my work studio throughout the week. So sometimes if I've had a long day and I'm I'm hungry, there's a McDonald's, a Burger King, and a Chick-fil-A. Which one do you think I'm going to choose?
Yeah, that's true.
Hello,
that's
Chick-fil-A.
Although the Chipotle is pretty good.
Chipotle, yeah, I know, but then I have to get on my car and, all of that. So I'm looking for something quick but good. So I go to Chick-fil-A and and then it's this little, a young kid, right? He's like, hey, welcome to Chick-fil-A, super enthusiastic. And I'm already this is so awesome. I don't know if they love their job, but I think they're paid to look like they love their job.
Okay.
So this guy was like, hey, how's it going? What can I get for you today? And I'm here I'm going to get the 12-piece crispy nuggets. And then can I get large fries? He was like, yeah, duh. And I'm here he's really enthusiastic, but it's bringing a smile to my face. He's like, yeah, and then he's like, of course. And I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, would you want a drink with that? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get a lemonade. And then they ask you, what sauces do you want? And I'm here I want the Chick-fil-A sauce, which, by the way, is really good. So good that I bought, the home one, and that was, gone really quickly. But anyways, so then I'm like, yeah, I want the Chick-fil-A sauce. He was all like, come on, bring it in. So he wanted me to fist pump him, whatever. And then he's like, and you have a great day. It was my pleasure serving you. And then I start laughing. I was all like, thank you. Have a good day. But it's just little things like that
That bring a smile.
Yes. It's just kindness, guys. I'm so thankful for other people in the world being kind. I work with people, so I know what it's like to work with people who are unkind and people who are kind.
Right.
And I've gotten feedback from myself, when I talk to other people, they're like, your energy, the way you're just happy. Sorry, this is out there. But they're the way you're happy and all of this, it just brightens up my day a little bit more. And so, yeah, I'm thankful for kind people in this world.
Yeah,
nowadays.
especially nowadays, man. It's
especially in the season.
Everybody's all grumpy.
Everyone's mad. Everyone's trying to cancel someone. Everyone's trying to this. So
God.
like,
let's not get into that.
So like to see someone being kind, it's nice. So yes, grateful for kindness and for Chick-fil-A once again. Thank you, Jesus.
Well, moving on.
So we're gonna move into our next segment, which is our mugshot of the day.
Yeah.
So, do you want to show yours? Or?
Well, ours is kind of matching. It says different things, but it came like a set.
So mine is green and his is red, and mine says "Kiss me under the mistletoe." So it's
Oh, I'm choking. And mine says, "Let's watch Christmas movies."
Yeah.
And we all love Christmas movies.
Yeah. Wait, what's your favorite one?
So I grew up liking Santa Claus.
Okay.
I thought I mentioned that the other.
Oh yeah, I think you did mention it.
Yeah. I grew up watching Santa Claus. I know you like The Grinch.
Yes, I love The Grinch. There's one specific. So if you guys haven't noticed, I mean, we're all like Christmassy themed in here. But for this month, we specifically told ourselves we're going to be in like Christmassy
pajama type
PJs, even though I don't really see your Christmassy look. I just see an Xavier comfy version. That's all I see.
Listen, if I
try to bring in the red here.
If I show up on Christmas Day with this, it's Christmas sweaters.
Yeah.
It's Christmas pajamas.
Well, if you don't know, like Xavier's the one that he doesn't really have PJs. So this is a big deal to him for him to be wearing PJs. He's the sweats guy, just the big tee kind of guy, or hoodies, So you got some plaid in there. I see. You're trying.
I'm kind of themed. I got some green in there.
Green in there, and blue for the snow, which becomes water. Yeah, I get it. I'm trying to make sense.
Where that connection was off. Anyway.
But yeah, so I love The Grinch, and we're actually talking about having like a Grinch day at the house.
Oh yeah,
because
that's right.
Hello, we need a Grinch day. So yeah, that's been my favorite movie.
All right. So you guys clicked on the video. I mean, you already saw the title. Is Christmas a sin? For a while, that was kind of a question that I don't know if other people have felt this way, but I've kind of avoided it. Because as I was growing up, it was just, Christmas and then the whole thing with Santa Claus, but it wasn't really about Santa. It was more about Jesus and his birthday. And that was what we were told when we were young. And then later on, people start talking and you start kind of realizing, wait, what does certain things have to do with Jesus?
Right.
And is Christmas even a Christian holiday?
Yeah. And I think that the more we start diving into like heavier topics, the more, I mean, like we said, next year we definitely have so many different topics that are heavier and things that we really need to get into scripture. So we just feel like with the topic of Christmas, obviously we're in that season, right? So yeah, we those questions kind of arose in our minds, and also last episode?
Yeah, so last episode was the first episode with these decorations, but let me tell you, it wasn't that easy to put these decorations up. We actually had a lot of within ourselves. We had tension because she wanted one thing and I wanted another thing, or I didn't want the other thing, I should say, and we were just very unclear as to where we should be. Yeah. A lot of what we do here is if we're going to be in ministry, we need to know what we're saying and we need to know what we're doing.
And just,
I mean, we'll come across, I'm not saying that I'm perfect.
Yeah, I was just
There's going to be a time where we might mess up or might say something that we shouldn't have said. If we catch it, we will apologize for it or correct ourselves.
Of course.
And we don't have control of those things sometimes. But when we do have control, like as of now,
you hold yourself accountable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we're in the right every time we show up on camera.
Right. And I think the main part that we really need to remember within ourselves is that we're, again, we're not perfect. We're human beings, and we're still growing as Christians. So although we grew up in in church basically our whole lives. Really, we didn't dive into scripture until maybe a couple years ago, you know, and it was still lightly. I feel like just as the months and the years are going by, it's like now we're getting heavier and heavier because it's just like, wow, like I didn't know this before. And it was almost like eating that spiritual baby food where it's like, okay, now that we're mature enough and we're able to dive into these topics, like what does it actually mean?
Yeah.
What is actually acceptable?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And so, you know, we were having that issue.
Yeah. So I was going to say, so tell them what happened.
So, okay. If you do something, but you don't know that it's being done by faith, or how should I word that? Like if you're doing something out of faith, technically it's a sin.
It's like if you're asking yourself, I feel like you need to, before we get into that, I think you should say what was going on.
Oh, okay. So we were putting up these decorations,
right?
But we didn't want to feel like hypocrites. I didn't want to feel like hypocrites.
Yeah.
And she was unsure as to why I was feeling this way.
Yeah.
That was really the truth of it.
Yeah.
Because you saw putting up, for example, lights on a tree or a plant for this instance, because that's really how we described it.
Yes, we did. It's a plant, not a tree.
I had this issue in my head where it's like, wait, but what does the tree have anything to do with Christ?
Well, you know why, too? Because someone had pointed it out before where it's all like, well, you know, people condemn like Halloween and stuff like that, but what about Christmas and the tree?
Yeah.
And at that point, we didn't really have knowledge. So
yeah.
I'm like, well, yeah, what does a tree? And then we kind of disregarded it. And then it was more like something that we kept in the back of our mind, like, hey, we should really do some research. But then we started hearing from other people, oh, like, yeah, actually, the Christmas tree has a lot to do with like a pagan holiday, you know? And then, but that's all we really knew. We didn't really dig further deep. So there was something like basically in his heart that was like tugging at him, like, hey, like, you know, should you be putting up a tree?
Yeah.
If it's a pagan thing, should you be doing this? So in the midst of like us decorating, you know, one, like, we love Christmas and we love the decorations and all of that. But then it's like, now we have something in the back of our heads that's like, wait, is this okay? Like, I haven't even looked into it.
Yeah.
You know, so in the middle of us like decorating, I'm here like, he had already said like, I don't want to put up a tree because I don't really know much about it. You know, and I'm here like, okay, well, this isn't a tree. This is a plant.
Yeah.
and
I said,
we just kept going back and forth with
because
that
the thing
one.
is, for me, it was like, it's still the same intent.
And I'm here like, no, a tree is a big thing. This is a plant. And I'm here like, this is a wreath. I'm like, you said this is okay. These are plants, not a tree.
Yeah, and I actually didn't know that the wreath was also a pagan tradition.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know, so in my head, like, listen, if there's anything you should know about us is that, like, we're both competitive and we're both could be stubborn, right? So if he says something, I'm going to backfire, and then he backfires, but we're not necessarily arguing, although it might look like that. I'm just like, well, what about this? And he's all like, well, this, you know? So
it's like,
we were going back and forth.
It's like, okay, but if you're saying this, then what about this?
Yeah,
this thing?
So that's what it was. I'm here like, wait, you said this wreath was okay, and this is a plant. I'm like, but this plant's acceptable, and this plant isn't acceptable. And then he's all like, you know what? Like,
it got difficult because you know what the thing is? It's the same thing in when Christians don't arm themselves with biblical knowledge, right? So someone who of the world is going to ask you a question, and if we don't, what happened? I saw you look away. Someone of the world, if they're going to ask you a question, right? And if you don't prepare yourself, you might look a little silly in front of them.
Yeah, and that's
exactly and she's asking me these questions, and I know in the back of my mind that I don't fully understand it, but I just know that something doesn't feel right about it.
Something's off.
But it's only because of a specific verse.
Yeah.
And that verse is Romans 14:23.
Yeah.
So I knew about this verse in the back of my head, and because I never bothered to look into it, I felt like I was sinning. And it goes like this. But whoever has doubts is condemned if they eat, because their eating is not from faith, and everything that does not come from faith is a sin.
Yeah, so it's like if you're not sure and you're like, this kind of looks bad, but it could be good, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah.
It's like you're
careful because
you're doing something out of faith.
Exactly. And so the first thing we did was, Proverbs is all about wisdom, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing we did was we were seeking counsel in a sense.
Because we definitely got into like a debate, and it was getting a little intense, and
we needed to start this podcast.
Yeah, and we needed this was actually right before we recorded last podcast, which is insane, but we were here like, well, if we don't know if we should decorate, like, we're about to start podcasting, like, we can't have the decorations for one episode and then not the next, and we're like, so what do we do?
Yeah.
So then he called.
So we called Manny.
Yeah.
Manny is like, for example, you surround yourself around good friends, wise friends especially.
Yeah.
And Manny is just that good friend that I go to when I'm asking a question regarding the Bible.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot of, he looks into the Bible in a theological perspective.
Yeah.
And where I might miss something, he already picked it up.
Right.
So he kind of like balanced that out.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is the perfect reason why you need to surround yourself with people who do have wisdom and who are of the same faith, because when you're in a situation like this, someone else might be like, I don't know, versus like someone else is like, okay, well, listen, the word actually says this. And so we did end up calling him, and
yeah. And then after the conversation, he gave me a little piece within that, and I felt like it was okay to go ahead, but it was still in the back of my mind that I need to know
you still
what
need
this
to
means.
know. Because
I can't
anybody can ask you.
Yeah, because he was telling me, it was like a quick summary of the knowledge that he knew, enough to give me peace, right? So I went back home and I was like, all right, I got to figure this out. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to make an episode on this, So this is what I found out. All right.
Wait, real quick before you get into that, I just want to say thank you, Manny, for taking your time to answer a phone call super late. And he just went in, and I feel like he's just that friend that you've called randomly, like, hey, Manny, so what do you think about this? So thank you for your time.
Yeah. So as soon as I started studying it, the first thing I wanted to do was, where did Christmas come from?
Yeah.
And a lot of I looked for Christian websites, and I looked for websites like, for example, history.com, the History Channel.
Oh.
And so they say during this time, pagans celebrated something that's called Saturnalia, and it was for the god Saturn.
Right?
What did I say?
Saturnalia.
Oh, Saturnalia. Saturnalia, whatever. And it's for the god of Saturn. This was celebrated between December 17th through the 25th. It ended on the 25th, which is what we see as Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And the traditions were decorating their house, singing songs from house to house.
Yeah.
Feasting with friends and family, exchanging of gifts, and all businesses and government offices or officials were closed for that day to recognize the holiday.
So real quick, at this point, when...
Oh. My alarm.
It's time to go to sleep?
No, it's for the time to feed the dogs, but I already fed them. Go ahead.
So at this point, when you were doing like this study, were you already like
Yeah. So I'm here reading this. I'm like, yo, this sounds exactly like what we do on Christmas.
Right. You're like, it sounds really familiar to what we
exactly.
do. Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, so if Christmas and Saturnalia,
let's just call it the Saturn day.
Whatever. So this pagan holiday and Christmas, right? If they're the exact same thing as far as tradition, wouldn't following those traditions be sinful?
Yeah.
But come to find out, no, it's not, because Christmas was actually, the way I see it, was the redemption holiday.
Yeah.
Christmas was actually made because although this pagan holiday shared a lot of traditions, what we don't know is that those traditions were the perverse versions of what we do today.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The singing from house to house was actually done in the nude.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Wait, do we know where this happened, or like?
So this was like from Roman times.
So like back then.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is like way back then. This is 400 or 300 AD, I think it was.
Wow. Yeah.
And so basically you had, like I was saying, you had the singing from house to house, which is what we call Christmas caroling.
But
right?
they were naked.
But these people were in the nude.
And also, I wonder what songs they were singing too.
Who knows?
Yeah.
There was the exchanging of gifts, but oftentimes what those gifts were like little idols that represented human sacrifice or cookies in the shape of humans, and you would eat those humans.
Wow.
And everything was just basically human sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's what it represented to them. You know,
Jeez.
and then the feasting, the partying and stuff like that was super, like everybody was just super drunk and they were having sexual orgies.
Wow.
So this was the pagan holiday that was celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean, the decorations and stuff, that was all, you know, a part of it. That's what they did. That's just, you know, how they gathered together.
Yeah.
That's how they kind of like symbolize that we're in this holiday, right?
Right.
But the actions that they took, that was where we need to draw the line, right?
Right.
So Christians saw this and they were like, no, we need to claim this day for us.
Yeah.
And so that's why we claim this day as the day that Jesus was born.
So it
Not
was like
his birthday, though.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of us, I think a lot of us already know that Christmas isn't the actual day that Jesus was born.
Well, some people might not, but if you don't know, like Christmas Day isn't the actual legitimate day. Well, at least that we know that is the day that Jesus was born. There's like, you know, like people have said like, oh, like it's said that it should have been around the springtime or around this. So no one actually knows the specific date.
And I don't think the Bible
it's
meant to make it of any importance.
Right, right.
You know, really though, when we say we're celebrating the birth of Jesus, it's not necessarily his birthday. It's just the fact that he was born.
Yeah, it's like you're celebrating the birth.
Yeah, so we're taking this day to just acknowledge that. It's a day of remembrance.
Right, right.
You know? So Christians, we needed to take back this holiday, or not take back this holiday, but take this holiday and, you know, kind of save the pagans. Turn it into something good.
Positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because Christians and pagans kind of coexisted within the same city and whatnot, you know, the traditions of like decorating your house and, you know, like the wreaths and stuff like that, all these lights and exchanging of gifts, all that stuff kind of got adopted, but it was cleaned up and redeemed.
Yeah, because ain't nobody
Well, I mean,
ain't nobody coming naked to your house.
Exactly. You know, they wanted to end that. And plus, I think one of the kings that took over ended up being Christian, and then he did a whole thing. Yeah. You know, but that's going deeper into history.
And also, it was also, I would say, the intent behind, right? Because pagans were doing all of these actions with the intent to serve their God, right? Whereas us as Christians, as even non-believers, some non-believers, you know, that do celebrate it, it's their intent isn't, I'm going to be worshiping this pagan god, I'm offering human sacrifice, I'm doing this. It's the intent of like, hey, I'm celebrating this season, you know, of Jesus's birth. Yeah.
And so everything was basically redeemed. It was all to represent anything that was for God.
Right.
You know, it was never, you know, like when we put up these decorations, even Christians back then, when they put up their decorations, it had nothing to do with pagan worship.
Right.
That was never the point of it.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to save these pagans. We wanted to get them away from that stuff.
Right.
You know?
So basically we can see how really it was just a redeemed holiday.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was to end the sinful nature of all their traditions.
Right.
You know? But going back, you know, when we were talking about the tree and whether we wanted to decorate this plant.
It's a plant, not a tree, but I get it.
I mean, if you put ornaments and stuff and not knowing, it's still representing the same thing. But anyway, we're not going to do this again. So, you know, I have notes regarding the tree, right? For us, we thought it was the biggest symbolic thing for pagans.
Yeah.
At least that's what was to our knowledge, because that's what was told to us, right? That's what people told us. And it was the part for me where it's like, I don't want to seem like a hypocrite and me putting on something that's supposed to represent some kind of worship to a solstice god, you know, like a winter solstice god or some pagan god.
Here I am trying to serve God,
right?
And I have this symbol that serves an idol,
right?
You know, and it's like, how dumb do I look?
Exactly.
Like that was basically the whole gist of everything.
Exactly. You know, but is it actually a pagan thing? So it turns out that, I mean, if you guys dive into it, you're going to see a bunch of different cultures that carry on some kind of tradition during this time of year.
Well, people, it's almost like they what was I gonna say backpack? They kind of
Pick up. You're saying
pick up on like
and spread?
different things and then make their own.
Yeah. I mean,
Right?
you can say that, but a lot of these things are based on theories,
Right.
based on lores, myths.
Yeah.
You know, the Christmas tree, it's a theory
Right.
of what it represented. In fact, the Christmas tree, the modern Christmas tree, what we see now, was invented by Western Germans. And this was way back like in the 1600s. And then when they brought it over here in like the 1700s in Pennsylvania. And it wouldn't be until the 1800s where somebody linked it to a pagan tradition and called it a sin.
So they didn't even have, like, when they put it up, it literally had nothing to do with it. Someone else was all like, well, actually.
Well, here's the thing. Like, that's why I'm saying that there's many theories.
Right.
There's even a Christian theory to it where it represents new life.
You know, I read something where it was all like, well, some Christians actually will connect it to like a triangle and how it's three, the Father, the Son, and the Holy.
Yeah,
and I'm
I
here
saw
like,
that.
wait, what? So I think like at the end of the day, it really does have to do with what is your intent behind.
Exactly.
You know, I know that for even people that celebrate it with us, are not with that intent of I am celebrating this pagan god. I feel like if anything, a lot of people didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
You know, and that was never even the it's just the intention.
Yeah, and honestly, like me getting into all these theories, it's kind of feel ridiculous to get into all these different theories that have no actual base.
Right.
You know? Like it's just why dive into something that has no meaning to you?
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I understand. And I think that's where sometimes it's like knowledge is good, right? Knowledge is useful. But I think sometimes with too much knowledge, you have to be careful that you don't put yourself in this web where like now you just feel condemned to do every single thing.
Yeah. I mean,
right?
That's how we get a lot of Christians that church hurt other people.
Right.
You know, because we get into this pattern of like almost basically executing someone for doing something.
Because everything you do is bad. If you take a step here, if you do this, if you open the wrong way, if you gaze this way, if you pierce your ears, if you there's just so many things. And I don't think God called us to live this kind of life.
No, he didn't. You know, and we can see it in Corinthians.
Yeah.
Paul, when he's teaching his people.
Right.
You know, we see that the church is doing exactly that.
Right.
That people are making up these ideas in their head and they're going so extreme as to saying
little things.
Yeah, going so extreme as to saying like, wait, no, I can't eat that because that meat was possibly sacrificed to a pagan god.
Yeah, so the same thing, and we'll actually go ahead and read it. Where it's found in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 30. And
wait, no, 27 I have here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so you read it.
Okay. Oh, you didn't have that one?
No.
Okay, so let's just do 27 first, and then we'll move on. We have 3 different verses here.
Oh,
so,
yes, I'm sorry. I do have 27.
You want to read that one?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it says, if an unbeliever invites you to a meal and you want to go, eat whatever is put before you without raising questions of conscience.
Yeah.
Right? So the thing is that back then there would be food that would be sacrificed, and given and offered to the pagan gods, but then sometimes there would be overflow.
Yeah.
Right? So people would go ahead and sell it or give it away because there's just había de más. Like it was so much of it. So then people would buy it, but then they're like, oh my gosh, but what if this food was supposed to be an offering to the pagan god? Like, am I in sin now? And I think a lot of it has to do with just your intent and your conscious. Like, what was your intent of actually buying that food?
Did you buy that food fully knowing that it was a sacrifice thing and you're taking part in that?
Or are you making this up? Or are you just
eating it because you're hungry?
Yeah.
I mean, are you just having Chick-fil-A because you want Chick-fil-A?
Excuse you, what you got to say about Chick-fil-A?
But moving on to verse 30, if you could read that one.
Yeah, so it says, if I take part in the meal with thankfulness, why am I denounced because of something I thank God for?
Right.
So it's like if that wasn't your intent, like if you had no knowledge that this food was something that was offered, it's like why should I feel guilty about it? If that was, it's like you have a clear conscience.
Yeah. You know, so just eat it and shut up. No, I'm kidding. Just eat your food, be grateful for it. You know, you're not, for example, going back into Christmas, celebrate Christmas
with the intent
that you know what you know the Christian background of it.
Right.
You know, don't now oh no, because this thing was possibly linked to this thing and this thing, so now I'm doing that. No, you're not doing that.
Yeah, because they were never meant to be the same holiday ever.
Yeah.
It was separate.
It was separate. If anything, it was to save people.
Yeah.
There was a good purpose behind Christmas. And Christmas and Saturnalia, right? Did I say that right?
Saturnalia, yeah.
Yeah. Were two different things. Right. They were celebrated differently too. The actions were different.
Yeah.
One had drunk people, the other one didn't.
Yeah.
One had sex, the other one did it. Yeah. One had sacrificial gifts, the other one did it. I mean, it's sure we can have adoption, right? We can understand that, like, hey, this portion of it, we can kind of take it because it's like there's nothing wrong with that. Well, and I'm not worshiping a different God. Right. This is just, a family tradition. And at the end of the day, I want to please God. God, look how beautiful this house is. I'm celebrating this Christmas, to represent you, to the birth of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that's it. This is all love and games and
if you
family.
Think about it, like, when everyone does it, they do it with the joy of giving, of making other people happy.
Yes.
Literally the season of giving.
Yeah.
And that's just, our last episode we were talking about giving, which, by the way, pause. If you guys haven't entered our giveaway, take this moment to sponsor our giveaway. No, yeah. No, but, we were talking about giving, and that's just, as Christians, what we're called to do. And that's like one of the reasons why we like to do it, because it's such a beautiful thing and a blessing of its own to give. So I personally don't see anything wrong with it. And that's my,
No, yeah. And then I just want to, like, for the Corinthians portion of it, I want to end it with, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do, let's highlight, bold, underline, whatever you do, right? You do it all for the glory of God.
Right. Yeah.
That's 1 Corinthians 10:31.
Plain and simple.
Plain and simple. Whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. All right? You're not celebrating Christmas with the intent that this is a pagan holiday and now I like Christmas, and whether it's a pagan holiday or not, I guess I'm going to celebrate it anyway. I guess I'm pagan. No. Yeah. I'm celebrating Christmas, not Saturnalia.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm celebrating the birth of Jesus, not whatever solstice thing is going on over there. Yeah. That's long gone. Right? And sin will come down to you at the end of the day. It's the way you celebrate it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people, they do get drunk on Christmas, right? But you as a Christian,
like, what are you doing?
Need to set you as a Christian, you need to set your limits. Mm-hmm. You need to know what you're doing, what line you're about to cross.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah, and I think that going back to what I was saying before, it's like, just, you can get really into this rabbit hole of, like, am I doing this wrong? Am if I cut my hair, am I in sin? If I, there's so much, and going back to that portion of, like, God, obviously wants us to be in His will, but He wants us to live in freedom. Yeah. And there's actually a version. There's actually a Bible verse that's found in Galatians chapter 5:13, where it says, "For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love."
Yes.
Our intentions is just not anything that has anything to do with paganism.
Yeah.
Our intention really is, that's why there is that Jesus is the reason for the season.
Exactly.
Like, that's just everywhere.
Exactly.
You know, because that's, at the end of the day, like, that's what we really want to come back to.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the most important questions when we do things.
Yeah.
Why are we doing it?
Why am I doing it?
You know? And if you don't know why, find out why.
Which is
what we did.
And even just in general, when you sit down in a church service and you're hearing a preaching, it's important to, yes, you want to listen, because someone may interpret it or use their own way of how God spoke to them. But you also want to fact check it.
Yeah.
Because someone could be wrong. Like we said, no one's perfect. us ourselves, we're still growing Christians,
Yeah.
right? And we're doing our best to be able to bring, you know, just sound teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But it's important to fact check.
Yeah.
You know, that's why we go back to the Bible verses, and that's why when you go home, don't just take someone else's word for like, hey, that's the absolute truth. No,
Yeah.
no. Do your research as well, you know, get into your Bible and really see like, okay, is this okay? Is this bringing me peace? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
100%.
and so that's what we did.
Yeah. You know,
and I'm glad we did.
I
really
am too,
glad we
you know,
did.
because I am relieved
Yes.
of any, like, if someone comes to me, oh, you know, you're celebrating. No, I'm not. Actually, I'm celebrating a holiday that eliminated.
Wait a minute.
That I'm celebrating a holiday that eliminated that pagan holiday.
Right.
You know, that's what I celebrate.
Yeah.
You know, so as for me and Adrian, we are going to celebrate Christmas in a happy way.
As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
That's right. And our holiday is to serve the Lord. It's
Yeah.
to recognize and remember that Jesus was born.
Yeah.
You know, not on this day specifically,
Yeah.
but the fact that he was born.
Well,
It's
we're
to
using-
celebrate that event in
yeah.
life.
And it's
you know?
beautiful.
It is.
You know? And every time I think of that, I always think of that song, Mary, did you know?
Oh, especially with that new one that came out.
Yeah,
the,
with Maverick City,
yeah,
I think.
that
Oh, I
was
don't know if it
really
was Maverick
nice.
City or Chandler Moore.
I thought it was
but,
just
like,
Chandler Moore.
I think it was Chandler Moore. It could be Maverick City though. But
Well, anyway, it was a
yeah.
nice song.
yeah,
you know.
it's a deep song, and
Yeah.
maybe something we'll get into. Wink, wink.
But all right, guys,
Um,
that is the end of this podcast. I know it was a short one, but it's definitely something that we wanted to cover. You know, if we were struggling with it, I mean, maybe there was somebody out there that was also in the same questioning the same dilemma.
Yeah.
You know, and we wanted to share it. I mean, that's what we're called to do, right?
Yeah, and I love that we again we try to be just genuine.
Yeah.
We try to be very transparent with what
Yeah.
we go through, and it just seemed like a perfect opportunity
Yeah.
to give you a history lesson, but to also give
you a little
peace,
drama.
to give you a little tea of like you know, no, I'm kidding. There's no tea there. I won though. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yo. Women. No, let me stop.
Excuse you. I usually this is how we link. But guys, thank you so much for being here. And seriously, what I was saying before, we are doing a $500
yes.
Cash giveaway.
And we want to see everyone in on this opportunity.
Yeah, so there's 4 simple things, and I'm just gonna quickly repeat them.
Yeah.
So we have a post that we did. We did a reel and a regular post, so you can like either or post. And in either or post, you're also gonna make sure you are tagging a friend. So follow us on Instagram, tag a friend. Also, obviously, you have to make sure you're subscribed because, hello, you're already here. Just subscribe, you know? And then on not this video, but the giveaway video, make sure you include your Instagram handle. That way we can find you. And then just
Something that you're thankful for.
Go ahead and write something
Yeah.
you're thankful for. And I love that I've been reading, like, just beautiful things.
There has been some really nice ones, man. I love them.
And that's our whole reason, like, because we could have just said, like, just put your Instagram handle, but it's a moment like this channel is meant to encourage others.
Yeah.
So I think it's beautiful when you get to see the testimonies of other people of like things that you're thankful for, you know.
Yeah.
There's other people that are reading it. So, you know,
and,
go ahead.
And you know when we say 716 isn't Adrian and I, you know, it doesn't end with us. 716 is good fruits. It can be anyone.
Yes.
You know, so seeing all these testimonies, seeing all these thankfulness comments and stuff, it's beautiful. You get to see the good fruits of others.
Yeah, you're worshiping God too by telling others of His goodness.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Well,
Guys,
that's it.
Yes,
We thank you if you've watched up to this point, and again, we hope you guys have a great night. I was gonna say a Merry Christmas. We're not there yet.
Merry Christmas. Unless you're watching this on Christmas, then maybe.
Yeah. True. All right. Well, all right, guys. See you on the
Bye,
next
guys.
one. Bye.
Wow. Oh no, my water spilled.
Oh, well.